Shoot the fucker!
The film Sisu, 2022, is set in the brutal and unforgiving landscape of Lapland during the final years of World War II. In late 1944, Finland had struck a treaty with the Soviet Union, promising to expel its former German allies from the country to avoid further aggression. This resulted in the Lapland War. Welcome to Every Screen, your go-to spot for movie breakdowns, reviews, and all things entertainment. Spoiler alert! Where Finnish forces found themselves clashing with retreating German soldiers. Against this turbulent historical backdrop, the movie tells the tale of a retired Finnish commando and prospector, Atami Korpi, who unwittingly becomes entangled in the violence as he embarks on a journey to safeguard a valuable gold find. The protagonist, Atami, is a man of few words, living in solitude in the desolate wilderness of Lapland. His only companions are his loyal dog and his horse, and he spends his days panning for gold in the region's remote rivers and creeks. Atami, emotionally scarred from his experiences in the Winter War against the Soviet Union, lives far from the rest of society, deliberately distancing himself from the chaos and violence of the ongoing conflicts. Though battles rage in the distance, he pays them no heed. One day, while searching for gold, Atami strikes the mother lode, uncovering a treasure trove of gold nuggets. Overcome with a sense of satisfaction, he collects the gold, loads his saddlebags, and sets out toward the nearest town to exchange his newfound wealth. A simple and straightforward plan, however, quickly turns into a fight for survival when he crosses paths with a brutal Wehrmacht platoon led by SS Obersturmführer Bruno Helldorf and his subordinate, Wolf. This platoon, part of the retreating German forces, has taken several Finnish women captive and is razing settlements in their path. Helldorf, a ruthless officer who sees the world as his for the taking, initially allows Atami to pass without incident, uninterested in the weathered prospector. Atami's reprieve is short-lived, however, as a second group of German soldiers soon discovers his gold-filled saddlebags. Realizing the value of his treasure, they attempt to execute both him and his dog. What follows is a display of Atami's lethal combat skills, as he quickly and efficiently kills the soldiers, leaving none alive. The scene is a turning point, revealing that Atami is far more than a simple prospector. He is a deadly force to be reckoned with. Upon hearing the gunfire, Bruno investigates and discovers the aftermath of Atami's carnage, finding a gold nugget on one of the fallen soldiers. Intrigued by the discovery, Bruno decides to pursue Atami and claim the gold for himself. As Atami attempts to flee, Bruno and his men give chase in a tank. The pursuit leads them to the edge of a minefield, where Atami's horse is killed by a landmine. Despite the loss of his horse, Atami presses on, detonating another mine to cover his escape and taking his gold with him. The German soldiers sent after him are soon picked off by the minefield, falling victim to the explosive traps laid throughout the area. During the pursuit, two of the Finnish women held captive by the Germans are forced to clear a path through the minefield. One of the women, Aino, steps forward, volunteering to lead the way. Her act of bravery helps set the stage for her eventual alliance with Atami, who emerges as the women's savior later in the film. Bruno, meanwhile, discovers Atami's dog tag among the wreckage and learns that the man he is pursuing is no ordinary prospector. Atami was once a feared Finnish commando during the Winter War, a legendary one-man death squad known as Koshai the Immortal. The nickname refers to a mythological figure from Russian folklore, symbolizing Atami's seemingly indestructible nature. Having lost his family and home to the war, Atami has nothing left to lose, making him an unstoppable and vengeful force. Despite the warning, Bruno becomes obsessed with capturing Atami and claiming the gold. His greed blinds him to the danger, and he defies orders to cease the pursuit, convinced that the treasure is worth any risk. Atami, wounded and exhausted, is relentlessly hunted by Bruno's platoon. With dogs on his trail, Atami devises a clever plan to throw them off his scent. He punctures the fuel tank of a German vehicle, covering himself in gasoline to mask his smell. When the soldiers stop to investigate the leak, Atami escapes, setting himself on fire and diving into a nearby lake. Bruno, anticipating his move, sends soldiers into the water after him. In one of the film's most intense sequences, Atami slits the soldiers' throats underwater and breathes through their necks, using the escaping air to stay submerged and evade capture. Reaching the other side of the lake, Atami stumbles upon a town that has been reduced to ruins by the retreating Germans. He takes refuge in a petrol station, hoping to regroup and plan his next move. However, Bruno is not far behind. In a cruel twist, he sends Atami's dog back to him, this time with a lit stick of dynamite attached to its collar. Atami manages to save his dog, but the explosion leaves him severely injured and vulnerable. Bruno, Wolf, and Schütze seize the opportunity, hanging Atami Atami from the petrol station's sign and taking the gold for themselves. They leave him for dead, but Atami, ever resourceful, uses a protruding reinforcement bar to hook his wounds and prevent himself from suffocating. Although unconscious, he manages to stay alive. By chance, a pair of German pilots land nearby in search of fuel. The wind from their plane loosens the petrol station sign, causing Atami to fall to the ground, still clinging to life. One of the pilots spots Atami's movement and is ordered to finish him off. But Atami, displaying his near-superhuman resilience, kills the engineer and incapacitates the pilot. As Bruno continues to plot his escape with the stolen gold, he arranges for a pilot to fly him, Wolf, and shoots it to safety, leaving the rest of the platoon to fend for themselves as they make their way toward Norway. Meanwhile, Atami forces the surviving pilot to fly him toward Bruno's convoy. The soldiers, now unaware of Atami's presence, find the crashed airplane in their path, with the pilot hanged by the same noose Wolf had used to hang Atami earlier. The final showdown is set when Atami climbs onto the truck carrying the captured women, dispatches their guards, and arms the women with weapons. He and Aino commandeer the truck, using it to overtake Bruno's tank. Atami confronts Wolf, dragging him out of the tank and beating him severely before leaving him at the mercy of the women he had previously terrorized. The women exact their revenge while Atami continues to pursue Bruno. In a dramatic climax, Atami uses his pickaxe to board the plane mid-air, where Bruno and Schütze are attempting to flee. Bruno coldly kills Schütze as a means of lightening the load and improving the plane's chances of escape. The ensuing hand-to-hand combat between Bruno and Atami is brutal, with Atami enduring repeated beatings. Just as Bruno seems to gain the upper hand, Atami cleverly hooks a bomb to a static line and drops Bruno to his death through the bomb bay door. As the plane crashes into a swamp, Atami miraculously survives yet again. Crawling out of the wreckage, battered but alive, he is reunited with his faithful dog. Led by Aino, the liberated women deliver Wolf and the captured German tank to a stunned Finnish unit, who can hardly believe what has transpired. In the film's final moments, Atami, bloodied and weary, arrives in Helsinki. Despite the devastation around him, he marches into a bank where he unceremoniously dumps his gold nuggets onto the counter. The other customers, dressed sharply and contrasting with his ragged appearance, look on in awe. For the first time in the entire film, Atami speaks, asking the teller to exchange the gold for banknotes, noting that they would be much easier to carry than the heavy gold nuggets he has been hauling across the wilderness. The film closes on this note, underscoring the indomitable will of a man who, despite losing everything to war, refuses to be broken.